When most people think of dairy, they think of calcium. And while it's a pretty important component, there's more to dairy than just that. So let's talk about it. How does dairy help us? How do the alternatives stack up? And how can we get more? Dairy has earned a reputation as a nearly perfect food, and for good reason. Many of the nutrients required to live a long and healthy life are found in a single glass of milk. Let's break that down, starting with the aforementioned mineral calcium. Calcium contributes to the strength of both our bone and muscle tissue. Our bodies store calcium in our bones and release it whenever our supply is low. If supplies get too low, it can lead to problems such as osteopenia, the loss of bone, or osteoporosis, weak and brittle bones. Making sure you have enough calcium can help to prevent these issues. And while there are many calcium sources, dairy may be the most convenient, because just 1 cup of milk provides roughly 30% of your recommended daily value. Next, we have calcium's helper, vitamin D. This vitamin is another essential component of bone mineralization. It's also required to prevent osteomalacia, also known as the softening of bones. Without vitamin D, your body can't absorb calcium. Vitamin D is also necessary for a healthy immune system, a healthy heart, and a healthy mind, improving mood and fostering an overall sense of well-being. Then there's protein, built out of amino acids, which helps repair and build body tissue. Protein allows metabolic reactions to take place which coordinate bodily functions, like building cells, synthesizing hormones, and generating neurotransmitters that create the messages we send to our neurons. And finally, fat. Fats supply us with monounsaturated fatty acids. These are responsible for decreasing the less desirable LDL cholesterol, while still maintaining healthy levels of HDL cholesterol. Polyunsaturated fatty acids, which are also a component of dairy, provide the healthy fats that keep our hearts and brains in good shape. Fats also supply energy, allow for nutrient absorption, protect our organs, and provide insulation from the cold. Some of us, for one reason or another, have removed dairy from our diets completely, and the task of finding complementary replacements can feel overwhelming. After all, how do you replace dairy without sacrificing its benefits? Let's compare some popular dairy alternatives with the original and see how they stack up. Almond milk is a great replacement for fans of low-fat milk, thanks to both its consistency and caloric value. Smooth and unassuming, almond milk is relatively neutral in taste, with just a hint of almonds in the finish. Try it in cereals, soups, or on its own. This dairy alternative may taste light, but compared to whole milk, it's packed with calcium. Whole milk contains 25% of your recommended daily value of calcium, and almond milk knocks it right out of the park with 35%. Creamier than almond milk, oat milk has a richness similar to whole milk. The flavor is close to cow's milk, except for a slight sweetness. This milk really shines in coffees, cocos, and teas. Oat milk is high in vitamin D. Dairy milk contains 15% of your recommended daily value, but oat milk contains 20%. Soy milk, the creamiest of all. Soy milk does a great job of replacing heavy cream and has a rich, warm flavor. Use this alternative in baking, sauces, and homemade ice creams. Soy milk is fortified with calcium, vitamin D, and healthy fats, just like many other alternatives. But where it reigns supreme is in protein. Cow's milk contains around 8 grams of protein per cup. Soy, however, packs a whopping 10 grams for every serving. And lastly, hemp milk. This alternative isn't as neutral as the others. The flavor is smooth, nutty, and a little sweet. If you're an overnight oats fan, this might be the one for you. Combine those oats with some nut butter, granola, and hemp milk for a truly satisfying snack. Hemp milk supplies calcium, vitamin D, magnesium, and iron while keeping the calories under 60 per cup. On top of that, hemp contains all 9 essential amino acids, something not all dairy alternatives can offer. Finding dairy alternatives used to be a struggle, but not anymore. For every dairy milk, cheese, yogurt, and spread, there's a dairy-free version. Nearly every major chain of grocery stores carries alternatives, so gone are the days of trekking all over town searching for specialty markets. But how can we consume more dairy and dairy alternatives beyond a glass of milk and a bowl of cereal? Let's talk about some ways to make dairy an exciting ingredient for any meal. Dairy and its alternatives make great additions to smoothies and shakes. For a peanut butter cup-inspired drink, mix that boring protein powder with some oat milk, peanut butter, and milk chocolate chips. Or blend some milk, yogurt, and ice into a matcha tea for a cool coffee alternative. Liven up fresh berries with a splash of cream and sugar for a light summery treat. Blend banana, maple syrup, pistachio, and creme fraiche. Freeze and enjoy as a homemade ice cream. Or try whipping together chocolate, butter, sugar, and yogurt for a nice alternative to traditional frosting. Consider updating some staple ingredients. Next time you're putting a potato or egg salad together, replace your mayonnaise with some plain yogurt, relish, and fresh herbs. Or whisk some milk or almond milk into store-bought hummus for a creamier dip or spread. Ready for a review? Let's recap. How does dairy help us? How do the alternatives stack up? And how can we get more? Loaded with ingredients that maintain brain, heart, bone, and mental health, dairy is one of our greatest tools for aging well. Those avoiding traditional dairy can experience its benefits just the same with many of these dairy alternatives. Almond, oat, soy, and hemp milk are just the tip of the iceberg. There's a flavorful alternative to meet any meal plan, from pistachio to hazelnut, cashew to coconut. Always something new to try. And finally, keep a healthy recipe rotation. Adding more dairy to your diet doesn't have to be a chore. Both sweet and savory food fans alike can incorporate dairy and dairy alternatives into every meal. We hope this inspires you to incorporate more dairy into your diet.